Yo guys, it's Chris here, back in another video, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to build a drift car, tune it, and then I'll do a little test on it. But today, yes, I am going to be telling you what you're going to need to upgrade certain things you have to look about in tuning, certain upgrades you might want to do, other things, and like I said, we'll test it. So, first off, you want to pick a drift car. Now, it is best if your drift car is rear-wheel drive and it came wheel-wheel drive out of the market, of course, because I mean it's fine if you rear-wheel drive swap it, but it's better if it's already rear-wheel drive. So let's just go around, pick a decent car somewhere around the 2,000 3,000 pound area that might be good for drifting. Why don't we do this Camaro, right? The Z28 Camaro. Let's just try that, right? It's already a wheel-wheel drive car. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is, for upgrades, what you're going to have to do is, let's start off with the conversions, right? Anything with the V6, inline 6, you know, twin turbo, all that stuff, that's like the ideal thing. So we have a V8, a V10, and a V12. This, I believe, already has a V6 in it. Yes, so we already have the V6 engine that comes with it. We keep the rear-wheel drive. We do not want to go all-wheel drive for drifting, and we put the twin turbo in there to add 89 horsepower. So the first thing would be platform and handling. Now what you're going to want to do is for your brakes, as that's part of drifting, you're going to need the race brakes. Your springs and dampers, you need to have race, so you get, look how slammed that car is. Gosh, oh my god. That is a slammed to the ground car right there. Anti-roll bars, you're going to need to make those race. Chassis reinforcement, roll cage, whatever you want to call it, that needs to be race chassis. Same with these other roll bars, you need to have them race. And the weight reduction, you have them race. Basically, just make this whole entire thing race. The drivetrain, now this is important when you're drifting. For your clutch, you need a race clutch. Your transmission, you need a race transmission. Your driveline, you need a race driveline, and your differential, you need a race differential. So basically, you just race out these two right here. Now, tires and rims. This is where people kind of change what they want. Sport tire is the best for this, okay? Because street tire, when you're drifting, you don't want to be gripping. So you obviously don't want to pick race tires or snow tires. So it's really street or tire, or street or sport, but the street is just too slippery. You'll do a whole bunch of oversteer and it won't work. So you do the sport tire compound. For the front tire width, you do one below the highest, so you don't have too much grip. And then for the rear, you do the absolute highest tires. Oh my, this could be a really good car. Look how slammed this car is on huge tires. Tires and rims, really doesn't matter what kind of rims you go for. I'll just take these because they're 43 pounds less. And then for size, I'll go with 18s. It makes the handling and all that worse, so it's easier for drifting, if you know what I mean. So 18 in the front, 18 in the back. Next, this is a big one right here, your engine. Now, people might do different things. All right, this thing has 449 horsepower right now, right? Oh, look at that carburetor improves that torque though. That's the first time I've seen a carburetor on here. Your exhaust, you need that to have race, right? Don't know why, it just has to. Your camshaft, this is really important, they have it race. For your revving range, obviously you have more control of your throttle. Your displacement, you need to have that race as well, because you'll have more throttle response, you know, be more instant. Your flywheel, you also need to make that race so you can go from lower revs to higher revs a bit more easier. And if your car does not have around 600 or 700 foot-pounds of torque, you keep upgrading until it does. Horsepower is not important because like the torque will keep the wheels spinning basically. So we need to have 600 to 700 torque. So to do that, we will just upgrade this thing a little bit, you know, get that intake 523, get the carburetor, get the ignition. What are we looking at now for torque? 543. We might just like fully upgrade the engine part because torque is important. I mean, like, sure, horsepower is kind of important, but you need torque a bit more. That helped the torque a little bit. This will help it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put the Sport Twin Turbo in there, and that is what we're gonna do for your upgrades. As you see here, we made the car lighter, the horsepower is better, and it's now a drift car. All right, tuning. Here we go. How to tune it? Your front tire pressure, 28. Your back, 26. It's what it needs to be. Gearing. Let's take this one last. Alignment. Basically, for your camber, drifting, you need a lot of camber, you know. Got to get that negative camber. Gonna go 3 in the front and 2 in the back. That is a standard. Your toe, got to keep that the same. And for rear, go for the 0.5. Your front caster is going to be a 6.5 here. It really helps it with the steering. The way the axis is going to be, the way the camber set and everything, that really just helps it. Your roll bars, you're going to have 10 in the front and 8 in the back, right? So this is really making it like really, really soft. Having 10 in the 8, or 10 in the front, 8 in the back, it makes it a lot softer, makes it a lot more easier to drift, and you'll see what I mean when it comes time to do the test. Dang, this car is already going 207 miles an hour. That's crazy. Alright, so we do that. Your springs, you're next. Basically, what you're going to do is, you're going to raise your front springs all the way to the max. Take that number, right? Divide it by 10. Okay, I'm going to put this on the screen right now. Basically, what you're going to want to do is, when you raise your front springs all the way to the max, you take that number, divide it by 10, then take that number, multiply it by 4 for the front spring rate. And so, basically, for this, I'm going to take out my calculator right now. We're going to divide this number by 10. So, let's see here. Got to get the calculator. So, we have a total of 1534.1 divided by 10, which gives us 153.1. Then we need to divide or multiply that times 4, and we get 613.64. So it's going to be softer. This is actually a pretty good method. I kind of thought of it, but I mean, like, I got the general idea from other things, but I mostly kind of thought about this, you know, making it softer, and then I found a little bit of a helping formula and then did this. Okay, so then what you're going to want to do is, you're still, okay, all the way at the front, we had 153.4. Basically, you multiply that by 3, I think. We had 153.41. Now you multiply that by 3 for the rear, and you get 460. So that is how you do your springs for the tuning. All right, that's close enough there for the springs. Blah, 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 blah. Your ride height, I just leave it as the same. It doesn't really matter. Your dampening, as long as the rears are lower than the fronts, leave it. If not, move it about 2 whole digits behind the front. So basically, our rear is lower than the front, we're good, right? That's how it was before. We keep it the same. If not, then like I says, move it to about 2 whole digits in front. And your brake pressure is 135. Yep. What was I thinking in my head? I was on the wrong one. That's great. Yeah, so that's what you want for your braking force and pressure. Differential, now, normally you'd go for about 100 and 100. Here, go for the 170 on this car. It's pretty good. This is just a default tune. Obviously, you can change it. For instance, we didn't really touch this. If you want to change some stuff, like this really just adds grip to the rear and back, so you don't really need to change that. But it's time for gearing. Yay, this is the most tricky part, and it differentiates good tunes from the bad tunes and from the good tunes. When you're good at drifting, you do not want your tachometer to be bouncing off the red line. This results in uneven power and output. When you're on the wide open throttle, you want the revs to be sitting like just above the red line. So usually what I do is I move the final drive until third gear is sitting around 110 to 130 miles an hour, depending on how much horsepower you have. Once this is done, bring the gears closer to third or whatever. So, for the final drive,
Real time. talk, just rap pack. Besides that, nobody I trust.
Back again like I never left. Young Sinatra, that's to the death. We turned up till we go deaf. Rap pack to my last breath. I cut records like Kid Cudi. Day and night, that's all the time. From the underground to the mainstream, my same team get all the shine. They wanna be, but I never knew. I just keep the peace and get revenue. Stay true, they never do. Cut all ties, I sever. These rappers like women, that's off of they pill. We keeping it real, but they flow as a record.